We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Nicole Byer, helping you make those rooms flyer. Today's style tip: when it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild! Like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Ooh, fierce! This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
This is Cashing Out on VSiN, the sports betting network.
All right, let's do it. It's Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo, taking you through the late hours of your Wednesday night, starting off your Thursday for our friends over on the East Coast. And we've got a lot to get to. We've got a fun hour ahead. VSiN senior handicapper Wes Reynolds going to join us momentarily to break down loads of postseason action. Little golf this weekend as well. You know the deal. Wes's winners. You don't want to miss it. Going to hear from our friend Tanner Kern on the upcoming Thursday games. Hoops, hockey, baseball, you name it. Tanner's betting it. You don't want to go anywhere, folks. But let's dive in to some late night Wednesday night action, because the Los Angeles Lakers just saw their season come to an end in as disgraceful a way as it possibly could have. We were sitting here, and a lot of prognosticators were sitting here saying that the Lakers were likely going to give it to Minnesota and work them in this series in 5. Well, they pulled a reverse Uno card on you. Minnesota in 5, going 2-1. At Crypto on the Lakers' home court, where they had the second best record in the Western Conference at home in the regular season, 31-10. Yet they dropped 2 out of 3, including the final game ultimately of their season on their home court. And the Minnesota Timberwolves, who were nearly 2-1 to take this series coming into it, they took every weakness that the Lakers had and just fully exploited it. You look at bench scoring and the way that Minnesota's bench manhandled the Lakers, outdid them 22-4 in terms of bench points. You want to talk about manhandling? How about the Lakers' struggles with size? Rudy Gobert goes inner KG, second wolf in franchise history. Only Kevin Garnett, prior to Gobert, had turned in a 2020 of Barbara Walters in the postseason. Garnett did it 4 times. Gobert, this was his first with Minnesota. 27 points. His over-under was 6.5. 24 boards, 2 blocks, a big rejection late. Just manhandled whoever LA ran out there in the post. And you look at the guy who was the starting 5 for the Lakers, right? Hachimura got most of his scoring, and he had a good game, 23 points. He did most of it from deep, 5 of 8 from beyond the arc. No one wanted to man up in the paint and challenge Rudy Gobert. The Timberwolves shot the ball atrociously. This was not a game that the Lakers should have lost, even with their vertically challenged size issues and their lack of depth. They ended up getting 50 minutes off of their bench? But also, JJ Redick, can I ask you a question? Mano a mano, one-on-one here. Why the hell is Maxi Kleber getting meaningful minutes down the stretch when you're down 3? The guy played 5 minutes all game. 3 of them came in the final 5 minutes of this one. What's the logic there? Come on. Guy had 2 points, didn't make a field goal, had played 2 minutes out of the first 42, and you got him out there for 3 minutes at the end, down 3 at one point? What's the logic? Where's the logic behind that? And look, I killed Redick after Game 4 for not utilizing the bench enough, because LeBron was evidently gassed, and so was Luka, and Gabe Vincent had something like 2 minutes. Well, you know what? Gabe Vincent got 26 minutes here. He got 0 points. So obviously Redick had no faith in his bench for good reason. Jared Vanderbilt, 19 minutes, 2 points. Like Kleber, both at the line. Lakers bench 0 for 4 from the floor. All 4 points came at the stripe. This Lakers team shot 42% from the floor, 29.5% from three. And what's astounding is both of those marks were better than Minnesota. The Wolves had a terrible offensive performance in terms of efficiency, but they got it up there in volume. They only made 40% of their shots, but they attempted 11 more than the Lakers. From three, 7 for 47. 15%. Try the fact they made 1 3 the entire second half. If you told me before the game, Joe, here's how it's going to unfold. The Minnesota Timberwolves are going to make 1 3 in the second half, and they're not going to have a quarter where they score more than 22 points. I say, oh, the Lakers win. You kidding me? Sign me up for that. Lakers win. They probably cover the pre-flop total 5.5. Minnesota had just 44 points in the second half. 1 3-pointer. But the Lakers, again, ran out of gas. These fourth quarter finishes by Los Angeles have been embarrassing to close out the year. Look at their last 3 fourth quarters, going back to game 3 in Minnesota. 20, 19, 16. Just when you thought the fourth quarter couldn't get worse for the Lakers, they got worse every time. Embarrassing. They've got a lot of rebuilding to do. And how about the tweet? How about the tweet from Mark Williams, who we've referenced here on the show? We've noted how much the Lakers could have used him when Jackson Hayes is giving you 4 combined minutes in the final 2 games of your season, and Hachimura at like 6'9" is lining up as the 5. The Lakers could have used a center. Well, Mark Williams, whose physical they didn't like, who they turned down, they said he didn't look healthy. And by the way, the guy had a few 2020 performances down the stretch with Charlotte. And I know Charlotte, LA, different markets, different expectations, different pressure. The guy looked pretty healthy down the stretch. And the Lakers could have used him. How many points did Dalton Connect have in this one? 0. How many minutes did Dalton Connect play in this one? 0. I mean, what did the Lakers have to lose with that deal? My goodness. Mark Williams tweeting a smiley face immediately after that game, and subsequently the Lakers' season ended. Nothing else, just an emoji of a smiley face tweeted out by Mark Williams. That was a wildly embarrassing ending to the Lakers season. On the macro level, losing a series in 5 in which you're home 3 out of the 5 games. On a micro level, that fourth quarter specifically, not even game 5. You want to go real micro? Let's talk a fourth quarter where all the momentum is in your favor. You just outscored Minnesota. You're down 10 at the half. You outscore them 31-22 in the third quarter. You've got all the momentum in your favor. Going into the fourth, you're down 1. You're actually favorites in the market. The Lakers were laying 1.5 in the market going into quarter number 4. Minnesota money line was plus 110. And the Lakers just choked. We talked about 39 combined fourth quarter points, games 3 and 4 at Minnesota. They went even worse. 16 points in the fourth quarter. Game 5 on their home court. An absolute, utter choke job by the Los Angeles Lakers. And that is how their season ends. Folks, Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring that all gambling transactions get approved. That means no usage fees, no minimums, and earn cashback rewards, plus get 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today, edgeboost.bet. Use that promo code, my favorite word, your favorite word, cash. Deposit $25, Edge Boost will match it. That's edgeboost.bet. Can't wait to talk to our friend Wes Reynolds here shortly. Get his thoughts, NBA playoffs, and more with our buddy Wes's winners coming up here on the program. How about some winners of our own as we look ahead to Thursday's NBA playoff action? The LA Clippers have to bounce back, right? This is a non-negotiable, isn't it? Each team's had their blowout win. Clippers by 34. Game 3, Nuggets by 16. Game 5, Denver leading it 3-2 on the series. Clippers have to bounce back after losing 2 in a row, right? I thought Kawhi was going to have a big game after they lost game 4 on that buzzer-beating dunk, alley-oop, missed shot, whatever you want to call it. I thought Kawhi, the same way he did after the game 1 loss, was going to react and come out like a bat out of hell game 5. He didn't. He didn't. More like a bat out of purgatory. Very in the middle, Kawhi Leonard. Very mediocre game 5. I think game 6, he's going to have a night. I think I might be going back to the same bet for Kawhi Leonard. We went over 32.5 points and boards in game 5. Finished with 29. He had an off night, and he still almost got there. Had a lot of boards. I think we might have to go back to it. Had a lot of dimes in that game, too. What did he have? 11 assists for a guy who had in the series prior 2, 6, 5, and 2. Had 11 assists in that one. His assist over under, depending on where you shop, 3.5 if you want to lay 60 cents, 4.5 you can get plus money. What's the PRA? 36.5? That he went over last game. So he went under points and boards. He went over PRA at 40. He's gone over 36.5 3 times this series. I think I still might want to go back to just the points and boards. Kawhi is due for a 30-piece. He gave you 39 game 2 after the game 1 loss, and it was a game 1 loss that the Clippers led the majority of the game. Frankly, it was one they should have won. James Harden left it all out there. It's the only game you can point to this series and say James Harden was absolutely superb. And Kawhi was mediocre. Kawhi, to his credit, responded game 2. Shot 15 of 19 from the floor, 39 points. Led the Clippers past Denver in game 2. He's been very mediocre since. Under on his points prop in 3 straight, 21, 24, and 20. I think he's poised for a 30-piece. And if he gets 30 points, you're in the clear on that points boards, right? I mean, as far as rebounds, he's gone 11, 9, 9 his last 3. 6 game 1, 3 game 2. If he gets you a 30-piece, he's getting you 32.5 points and boards, and it's a better price, minus 105. I think we're locking it in. More cashing out with Joe Ceraulo up next.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Styles McKenzie helping you make those rooms sing. Today's style tip. When it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild, like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Arr, fierce. This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Welcome back to Cashing Out here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out continues with me, Joe Ceraulo, taking you from your Wednesday night right on in to the early hours of your Thursday morning here on the program. And I'm excited to take it over to the progressive guest line here, welcoming our friend, VSiN senior handicapper. It's time for Wes's winners, Wes Reynolds, joining the show. Wes, how are you, my man? And please, the floor is yours. Give me your instant reaction to the conclusion of that Lakers-Wolves series.
Yeah, good to be with you, Joe. You kind of knew after game 1, even though the Lakers ended up getting game 2 and game 4 was a coin flip there at the end, you kind of knew that the Lakers were in trouble here, and just having no size down low was going to affect them. LeBron and Luka, even if they got theirs, they were going to be made to work by all these defenders that the Wolves can throw at you, with McDaniels, with Ant-Man, with Alexander Walker, and then you have Rudy at the rim. And Rudy was the star tonight, 27 and 24. So seeing Mark Williams' smiley face tweet, because remember, that was the trade at the deadline that they made for Dalton Connect. And then Williams, apparently the Lakers said he failed his physical, and Mark Williams and his agent disputed that. So Williams ended up going back to kind of the hell that's in Charlotte when that team, won like 19 games this year, whatever they won. So, yeah, you just kind of knew that this wasn't going to be good for the Lakers. And they were getting a lot of hype going into the playoffs, too. It's like the media, the national media, especially like, man, Rob Pelinka, the executive of the year, and pulled the heist with the Luka trade. And look, that ends up being a bad trade for the Mavericks, I think, long term. But, yeah, the Lakers, they don't have enough. And with the exception of the bubble year down there for COVID, when the Lakers did win a championship, a lot of missed playoffs and a lot of first-round early exits. I believe this is the third in 7 years for LeBron.
Yeah, and they've missed the playoffs twice in addition to those 3 first-round exits. It's definitely been, for the overwhelming majority, you could call it a disappointing run for LeBron in Los Angeles. And Minnesota, to their credit, they exploited 2 major weaknesses, depth and size. And a lot of people were saying Lakers in 5 coming into the series, myself included, admittedly. Well, Minnesota in 5, the right side. Wes, how about the other team in LA? Clippers going back to Inglewood for a Game 6, down 3-2 against Denver. They're laying 6.5. It's up to 7 almost everywhere. 6.5 still the number at DraftKings. What's your take on this game?
Yeah, it's same number that it was in game number 4, where the Clippers got beat, and so a little bit of 7 now. There is some 6.5, and I did lay the 6.5 with the Clippers here. You haven't really seen a discount, so I think that the market is kind of leaning that way and giving you a little bit of that extra tax on the Clippers. But game 4. Sometimes you get in these series, Joe, and you lose a game and then you lose the next one the same night. And I think that's what happened to the Clippers after they came all the way back from 22 down, tied the game, played great defense there on Jokic on the final possession where he just kind of throws it up. Aaron Gordon comes in on the weak side in the back door and dunks it in at the buzzer. And I thought that demoralized the Clippers a little bit for game number 5. So I fully expect a better effort tomorrow night. I know that's a big number. So I think when it gets to 7, you're going to see it dance around like 6.5 or 7, I think. And value number bettors are going to bet the 7. Of course, you're getting the best player in the world in 7 points. A lot of people are going to think, yeah, we got to take that. But I think Clippers win pretty easily tomorrow, and we go 7 back in Denver on the weekend.
I'm with you on the Clippers winning. As far as playing this side, I'm probably going to sit tight and look to play it live. We've seen every game this series, including the 3 that landed within 3 or fewer points. We've seen a double-digit lead at one point or another. So if Denver can maybe jump out early, second quarter or something, and I can take LA live, that's what I'm looking to do. Any interest? I'm curious your opinion on this prop I'll be playing pre-flop. Kawhi over 32.5 points and boards. He landed on 29 last game. It's been 3 mediocre performances in a row. I feel like at home he's due for a big one here.
I could certainly see it. I haven't played any props yet tomorrow. I might be looking at some Zubac because I think when the Clippers, when Harden's really dishing the ball and he gets Zubac involved early, this is a better team. And then you get Kawhi, of course, with the takeover like he's done a couple times this series. Maybe a little lean to the under on the total at about 213, 212.5 in game number 6 here, because we've seen some of those defensive battles, and both these two teams, especially the Clippers, play really elite defense. So could see a low-scoring game and the Clippers just getting out early, perhaps like Houston did tonight. I don't know if it's going to be quite that blowout, but I do like the Clippers to take this to 7 at least.
Yeah, I think that total might be inflated just because of the Game 5 we saw in Denver, but a lot of games have gone well under that mark so far that series. Let's take it to the East, looking ahead to a little second round action as 3 out of 4 series wrapped up in 5 games or sooner. Only my Knicks making this one painful. Still in action against the Pistons. But you've got a series play or maybe 2 series plays on Indiana-Cleveland. What do you like?
Yeah, we're going to start on Sunday. And this number, and I think the Pacers should be underdogs. After all, Cleveland won 64 games this year.
Right.
So they should be underdogs. But I look at, I think in town at Superbook over at Westgate, it's as high as plus 450. I think that's high. Look, if you say who's going to win the series, I think it's going to be Cleveland, but I'd be willing to play a little series spread here. Pacers plus a game and a half, plus 160 if you want to get play it a little bit more safe, plus 2.5 minus 125. I think the Pacers can give Cleveland all they want here, and I think that game where they started so poorly last night, where they got down 20 and came back and won. And I know this is a Bucks team that's a little weakened and doesn't have a lot of depth, but still, to be able to do that when you're not at your best and to have Tyrese Halliburton close it out and send those guys home after all the flack he got for being named the most overrated player in that athletic poll that they did a few weeks ago. I think this Pacers team got some confidence. They had the fourth best record in the league since January 1st. So I thought that price was a little bit high to lay to the Pacers, even though Cleveland the rightful favorite. But I think the blue and gold, I think we're going to have a hell of a series. I actually think this is going to go 7 between Indiana and Cleveland.
Wow. Well, if it goes the distance, Pacers series spread plus $1.60, plus 1.5 games there. You know, one thing Indiana's got, and we killed the Lakers for not having this, depth. And that's what Cleveland thrives on, right? The DeAndre Hunter, Ty Jerome, guys like that coming off the bench for the Cavs. Indiana, I think, has the pieces coming off the bench to match those guys. And I'm with you. I think this could be an absolutely sensational series. Wes, before we pivot over to the golf, I do want to ask you, Friday night number just came out. The Warriors, after getting just whooped by Houston, they were down 27 going into the fourth quarter. They're laying 5 on their home court. Would you take that?
Yeah. Well, this opened 3.5 at some places.
Wow.
I think it's no surprise that the Warriors are getting the money, and I do think they finish off the Rockets. Of course, that little kerfuffle at the end when the Rockets still had their starters in, and the Warriors basically had their freshman team in in the lineup, and you still got Sengun and these guys in the game. I think that's going to tick off Steph and Draymond and those guys. I think the Warriors finish this off definitely on Friday night.
I tend to agree with you there, Wes. Let's take it over to the Byron Nelson down there. Scotty, shorter than 3-1. Next man up, Jordan Spieth, currently 18-1. How do you play this market from an outright perspective? Because obviously you can't play Scotty.
Yeah, I mean, Scotty, if this was like an elevated event on a tougher course, I would look, I would even maybe potentially consider playing him at such a short shot. But this is where you go bomb hunting. You're going to have to shoot like 23, 24 under par to win this. A couple of the shorter guys I played, his best friend on the tour, Sam Burns, at 30-1, who's just an excellent putter. And this turns into a putting contest more often than not when you got to shoot that low and the fairways are pretty wide, pretty scoreable course. Stephan Jaeger at 40-1 is one I also played. And then couple triple-digit guys I'll give. How about Semi Valimaki at 110-1, Cam Davis at 100-1, Alejandro Tosti at 90-1. You want big hitters off the tee that can hit greens, and then you just hope you have a spike putting week. But, yeah, this is a little bit of a downfield, Joe, because it's in between 2 majors and then the 2 signature events, the RBC Heritage and then the Truist, which is going to be held in Philadelphia next week for the first time.
Yeah, and so I wanted to ask, and we've got 40 seconds left here, but I look at this, and I'm not much of a golf guy. I recognize 3 names, Scotty, Spieth, and Siwoo Kim. Why is Scotty playing in an event like this?
Well, he's from Dallas, and he lives there now, and that's the same thing. Spieth, born and raised in Dallas, so that's the only reason he would be playing this event. So the motivation is there to win, but you know what? If he wins this at plus 280 or 3-1, okay, I'll let that go. It's like a horse race, so sometimes you try to beat that favorite in your pick 6 sequence, and I'm willing to let that go. So we shall see, but not for me at 3-1.
Wes, you're the absolute best, man. Really appreciate the time. Thanks so much for hopping on.
You bet, Joe. Thank you.
VSiN senior handicapper Wes Reynolds. Also, make sure you check him out not just on Twitter at Wes Reynolds1, but the Long Shots Pod. Him, Matt Brown, Kelly Bidlin. It is your best source out there for golf wagering. And, of course, that's VSiN's best golf podcast. More Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Cashing Out here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
All right, Cashing Out continues with myself, Joe Ceraulo, taking you through the late hours of your Wednesday night, right on in to your Thursday morning for our friends on the East Coast especially. And now we're going to take you right on over to our progressive guest line. Welcome in our friend, does terrific work over at DraftKings Sportsbook, Tanner Kern, into the program. We've got a rare occasion where Tanner's got picks for us in 3 separate sports on Thursday. I can't wait for this, Tanner. My man, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good, Joe. How you doing?
I'm great. I can't wait to pick your brain on some of these games. Let's start NBA playoffs. Pistons, Knicks. I think personally this is a terrible spot for my Knicks. Dropping 2 out of 3 at home. You had a chance to bury Detroit at MSG. Couldn't do so. Now you're going back to Motown, where Detroit has gone 0-2 this series. It's hard for me to envision a world where Detroit goes winless at home this series. Tanner, what do you think about Game 6?
I'm going to take the Pistons on the money line, Joe. They've outplayed New York this entire series. We go back to game one. They had every opportunity to win, but playoff inexperience hurt them in the fourth quarter. In game 3, which was by far the best display for the Knicks, they lost by 2, and then they got screwed in game 4 with Tim Hardaway no call. So look at the Knicks. They've been effective on the road in this series, but I don't think the Pistons are going to come into this game overlooking them by any means. They're going to show up and try to get a big win at home and extend this series. And if it goes 7, even though it's going to be a New York, I think the Knicks are in slight trouble here. It's clear Jalen Brunson's injured. He's also undersized against a really physical Pistons defense. Cat's playing with his back to the hoop. That's not his style. That's not what works for him. He needs to shoot the basketball. He's passing up shots at times. That's something he just can't afford to do. I really think Detroit has nothing to lose in this spot, which makes them a really dangerous team. Cade Cunningham's got room to improve as well. He hasn't really been super effective from the field. If he gets just slightly better and the role players for Detroit continue to do what they're doing and the playoff inexperience doesn't hurt them, we're asking for a lot here, but I think that home court advantage and how Detroit has played in the series overall will be good enough to get a win here and force a game 7.
Tanner, you hit the nail on the head, my man. Detroit is the guy in a bar fight who's got nothing to lose, and that's always the more dangerous guy. The Knicks have expectations attached to them. They've got pressure, and right now they're cracking under pressure. Even in the games that they've won, they haven't separated themselves, which in terms of talent, they should be able to do against this Pistons team, man. I love everything you just said, and I'm with you. I think Detroit wins Game 6. How about the Clippers-Nuggets series? Going back to L.A., the Clippers stormed back in Game 4 to tie it. Nuggets get the buzzer beater, then obliterate L.A. in Game 5. What are you looking for here, Game 6 in Inglewood?
This is a really hard one to predict because the Clippers have been the better team throughout the entire series. Nuggets coming off a great win, obviously. That was their best game so far. But the Clippers realistically have been better. So it's hard for me to lean towards Denver in this spot. I do think LA can force a Game 7. But I do like a prop and betting on a guy that tends to always show up, and that's Nikola Jokic over 49.5 on his PRA. Coming off a game where he had a triple-double. Wasn't a great scoring night, but still continues to put together triple-doubles like it's his job. I was on the PRA in the last game. Really didn't work out for me there just because the scoring was down. He shot poorly. He didn't shoot enough. And really, Denver controlled the game the entire night. I don't think they had to press much and get the ball to him as much. And then Jamal Murray obviously took over. Star of the night, 43 points. But that hasn't been the case traditionally in the series. I think he's due for a little bit of regression. And I also think LA is not going to give him the chance to shoot 14 three-pointers either. So if that's the case, it should open up Jokic for some more scoring opportunities in the spot. Schematically, you can stop Murray. Jokic is a different beast, obviously. He's gone over this total in 3 of the 5 games in the series. He should be effective at the rim, have that better scoring night because, again, he was pretty inefficient last game. And also, the Clippers give up the most assists to center, so that helps when Murray does get his chances and other players from the perimeter. So I do like Jokic over 49.5. I'm not saying they win the game, but for them to be competitive, I do think he has to have the big night in this one.
Yeah, it feels like a good bounce-back spot after Murray got his chance to play hero at home. Now go back to Jokic on the road. I'm curious, and I know that this isn't listed on your best bets. Any intrigue in anything having to do with Kawhi Leonard? Because outside of that Game 2 where he was out of his mind, vintage Kawhi, he's been, I feel like, a relatively average, at least from an offensive perspective, this series. So any intrigue there? Maybe over 24.5 points, 32.5 points, and rebounds. Anything stand out to you?
Potentially. I mean, between him and James Harden, it's hard to pick the guy who's going to go off every night. And I've had that case with James Harden traditionally and Kawhi Leonard. You just don't know what you're going to get. Obviously, playoff Kawhi, when he's healthy, is a different beast. And at a game where their back's against the wall, I would love to bet on him to be the guy. I'm just not so sure. It's really hard to get a gauge on how those two play together.
Yeah, 39 points for Kawhi in that Game 2 has not eclipsed 24 in any other game this series. Let's take it to the ice. What are your thoughts this Oilers-Kings series? What do you like Thursday night?
I like the Oilers 60-minute money line against the Kings. This series looked like it was going to be done after a couple games. The Oilers were outshot in game 1. They lost a nail biter. Dominated in game 2, 6-2 loss there. And again, it looked like the defending Western Conference champions were going to have an early playoff exit. But you look at the past 3 games, we've seen just a completely different Edmonton team. They've won the shots on goal battle. They've been getting an insane amount of pucks on net to a point where just LA looks overwhelmed. They can't seem to handle it. This is an LA team that went 31-6-4 at home, and the Oilers smacked them in Game 5, one that I thought LA was going to come out after losing 2 straight and actually step up. Calvin Pickard has been statistically one of the worst goalies in the playoffs for Edmonton, but he's done just enough considering that the Oilers are getting so many shots on goal. They're in the slot, they're living in that area, and if they continue to do that, there's no reason the series isn't going to end tomorrow night. Now, with the series returning home, all the momentum on the side of Edmonton, just bad news for LA. And it's not like it's just Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Vander Kane, Zach Hyman, like those guys. The whole team is really contributing. It's been a lot of good shifts for them across the board. And I just think it's bad news for the Kings coming to this spot. They're going to drop their 4 straight, and the Oilers are going to move on.
Yeah, and make it 4 straight years with one more win. Edmonton will have eliminated LA in the playoffs. I was right there with you. I figured this Kings team, best home team in hockey, below average on the road. I figured they'd go back, right the ship Game 5. If they weren't able to do that, it feels like this thing is meant to end in 6. I love the 60-minute play. How about a couple plays on the Diamonds? What's going on in Great American Ballpark? The Reds all of a sudden can't hit. St. Louis had a great doubleheader, and you think the Cardinals do it again Thursday?
I think they do. The Cardinals are a bad team on the road. Obviously, today doesn't necessarily support that. But heading into tonight's game, they were 13-17, 3-12 on the road. So obviously adding another win there. 4-12 on the road, still not great. But I do like them in this spot. Matthew Liberatore is going to be on the mound, and he's just been tremendous this season. 2-2, 3.19 ERA, whip under 1. He's allowing just 1 hit per inning right now, less than 1 hit. He's been really good, and has allowed 1 home run and just 2 walks in 31 innings on the mound. That's the key stat to look at. If you don't walk batters and you don't give up home runs, you're going to be successful. It's hard not to win when a starting pitcher puts up numbers like that. And across the board, Andrew Abbott, he's going to pitch for Cincinnati. He's been solid. 3.6 ERA, whip right around 1 as well, but only has 15 innings on the mound. And when you look at who he's faced, the Pirates, the Orioles, and the Rockies, not great lineups there. Baltimore is 20th, Pittsburgh is 25th, and Colorado is last in Major League Baseball in runs scored. So I think Abbott's due for some regression here. The Reds' offense is much better statistically than St. Louis. They haven't necessarily shown it lately, but the Cardinals are a middle-of-the-road team when it comes to runs scored. They're 7th in OBP. Andrew Abbott's going to have some trouble here, and if Liberatore continues to do what he's done so far this season, I like the plus money here.
Tanner, as always, man, great stuff. Take us home with one more play. What do you like? My Mets, Citi Field taking on the D-backs. Rubber game. What's the call here?
I like the under of 7.5 here. The New York Mets have been one of the best teams in baseball with the Dodgers, but they've done it without a lot of offense. Don't get fooled by their 19-run slaughter of Washington on Monday. They don't hit, and a big reason for that so far, Juan Soto has struggled at the plate. He's walking, got a great OBP, but when he gets chances to swing, not really converting there. Mets are 14th in their team OBP. They would be 16th in runs scored, taking away that 19-run performance the other day, and 13th in home runs. These stats don't necessarily resemble where their record is. Love Kodai Senga on the mound, 3-1, 1.26 ERA, allowed 1 home run in just 28 innings. Zach Gallen is the wild card here, going to pitch for Arizona. He's been not great, but he's faced good offenses, and the Mets bats could be just what he needs to limit the runs here. I think this is a tight game. I think it's one that New York wins, but worst case, I'm thinking 5-2, and that would keep it under the total of 7.5.
I love it. Go get that exacta in. Mets 5, Arizona 2, and let's have another series win at Citi Field for my Mets. Tanner, great stuff, man. Really appreciate you joining the show. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
Make sure you follow him on Twitter at @TannerKern_. Check out his fantastic work over at DraftKings Sportsbook. And folks, with the NBA and Stanley Cup playoffs heating up, baseball's in full swing, and The Kentucky Derby is right around the corner, just a couple days away, so don't just watch, bet smarter with VSiN Pro. Time's running out to get full pro access through August 1st. Everything we do, just $59, saving you well over a third off the monthly price. Sign up now. That instant access will include a daily recap of best bets from all of our VSiN hosts and guests, exclusive betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, 24/7 live video on the VSiN Watch app with full replays, and our Kentucky Derby betting guide with previews and best bets on the Derby and Kentucky Oaks. Every sport, every edge, one fantastically unbeatable low price. Sign up now, vsin.com/subscribe. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. More picks, more winners, more cashing out with Joe Ceraulo up next.
Welcome back to Cashing Out here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out continues with me, Joe Ceraulo, getting you ready for your Thursday morning, and it's going to be a busy morning. A lot of matinee baseball, or as we call it here on the West Coast, morning baseball, right? Noon, 1 p.m. Eastern starts, translating over to 9 a.m., 10 a.m. West Coast start times. We're going to dive into all of it. Some great guests this hour, Wes Reynolds, Tanner Kern. It has been a blast. And oh, by the way, I think it took all of 30 minutes after the conclusion of the Lakers-Timberwolves game to get tweets out that there were reports that the Lakers are looking to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo this offseason. Because of course they are. Of course they are. They're so focused on star power. How about depth? Look, I'm not saying Giannis doesn't make everywhere he goes better, right? But LeBron, Luka, you've got star power. Who knows what LeBron's going to have in the tank next year? But how about some depth? Star power isn't what sunk the Lakers this season. It was size and it was depth. And what's Giannis going to cost you? I mean, I don't even know logistically how that trade would go down. I'm not going to sit here and speculate. I just think it's lunacy. I mean, get some damn role players, right? Get a rotation going. Don't ask 42-year-old LeBron to play 42 minutes, maybe. And then we can start talking. But we've got action on Thursday to get to, so let's do so. It's time for the VSiN Daily Morning Bets. We are starting the VSiN Daily Morning Bets with my Mets. I'm going back to a bet that I've been loving. Give me the Mets to not bat in the bottom of the ninth, -110 at Citi Field. Kodai Senga on the bump opposite Zach Gallen. Gallen's really struggled early goings of the season. He is just 1-4 to start the year. He's allowed 3 earned runs or worse in 4 out of his 6 starts to pitch to that ERA north of 5.5. Kodai Senga on the flip side, one of the lowest ERAs in baseball through 5 starts. How about this? First time out allows 2 earned to Miami. Rattles off 3 straight goose eggs, 3 straight scoreless starts, and then 2 earned last time out. He's back on his home bump, and current D-backs hitters just 3 for 35 against him. It's an 0.86 clip, 18 strikeouts. That's over a 50% K rate. Give me Senga and the Mets to not bat bottom of the ninth, -110. How about some evening baseball? On a day that's inundated with day games, I've got 2 out of my 3 bets on the diamond coming after 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So you're going to have to stay up late, just like you always do, for cashing out with Joe Ceraulo. Give me Detroit -120 on the money line in Anaheim. Casey Mize has been sensational in the early goings of the season for Detroit. 5 starts, he's 4-1. In 4 out of his 5 starts, he's allowed 1 earned run or fewer. Current Angels hitters against Mize, 45 at-bats, 7 hits. 1 for extra bases. It was a double. It's a 156 clip, 178 slugging percentage, 386 OPS. Mize has dominated these guys in the 45 times that they've faced him. Kikuchi, on the other hand, has really struggled this year in Anaheim. 0-4, ERA is north of 4. This Tigers lineup hits lefties really well, top third of the league against left-handed pitching. And not a lot of Tigers have faced Kikuchi, but the ones who have teed off on him. Tigers hitters, 15 for 43 against him. It's a 350 average, a 996 OPS, almost an OPS that starts with a 1. 2 homers. Now, most of that damage is one guy. So if you want to look maybe over bases or hits, runs, RBIs, Gleyber Torres is 10 for 28 against him with 3 extra base hits and 2 walks in 30 plate appearances. He's reached 12 times. Kikuchi this year, oddly enough, and this is the one, I'll call it a rebuttal, if you will, the one thing that gives me pause, he has made 6 starts, and 5 of them have been on the road. His one home start against San Francisco, he went 5 1/3, allowed 1 run, 0 earned. They got the win late, 5-4. He got a no decision. So he was great in his one home start. In his 5 road starts, he's allowed 3 earned or more 4 times. This is at home, but right now Detroit is starting to look like they're the class of the American League, and this Angels team is just fading fast. They're in last place in their division. Everyone else is above 500. The Angels are quickly seeing the bottom fall off of that thing. Give me the Tigers. I like that price, -120 on the money line. Final play on the diamond. Speaking of prices I like, how about a plus money pitcher prop? Give me Justin Verlander in his 7th start of the season to finally record his first win as a San Francisco Giant. Verlander to get the win on DraftKings, plus $1.30. He has actually quietly pitched really well his last 2 times out. Now, he's 0-1 in those 2 starts, but he's gone 12 innings, 3 earned, both quality starts, never allowing more than 2 earned in a single outing over his last 2. It was a rocky road for Verlander, his first 4 starts. I think he's starting to settle in. Last time out at home, he looked fantastic. It's a Rockies team that's 1-14 on the road. San Francisco is laying $2.30 on the money line. Verlander to go over 17.5 outs is -170. That tells you the books think he's going to go at least 6, and they think San Francisco is going to win this one easily. So why not turn that into a plus money play? Give me Justin Verlander plus 130 to get the win. Honorable mention, Kyle Freeland, who has just been getting teed off against this year. He's 0-4 with an ERA of 6. He's allowed 3 earned or more in 5 straight starts since he went 6 scoreless. His first start, opening day in Tampa, that was in March. The month of April, his ERA is 7.5. You can get Kyle Freeland over 2.5 earned runs at -120. We went over 3.5 with Cal Quantrill against the Dodgers. Now, Dodgers lineup, Giants lineup, very different. But the Giants at home are a great offensive team. Very potent at home. 10-8 on the road, 9-4 at home. How about the disparity in strikeouts for the Giants? On the road, over 10 a game. At home, under 7 a game. It starts with a 6. So it's an entirely different lineup at home, which is ironic because it's a pitcher's park. But Kyle Freeland is worth a look. Over 2.5 earned runs. He's, like I said, gone over this in 5 straight. Current Giants hitters against him have done well. Collective average of right around 270. A lot of powerful right-handed bats that crush lefties like Wilmer Flores in the mix there. 4 home runs split among this team. So Freeland over 2.5 -120. Not calling it a best bet, but it's worth a look. I'm going to ride with Verlander plus $1.30 to get his first win of the season. Let's take it to the NBA quickly for our final, 4th and final best bet. We're going Kawhi, back to the well, over 32.5 points and rebounds. We took this game 5 in Denver. He landed on 29, missed it by 3. I believe he had 25 going into the 4th quarter, just no-showed in the final 12 minutes. Now, he had a pretty mediocre game, and he still came within 3 of this number. If Kawhi gives us the offensive outburst he is overdue for, like what we saw in Game 2, he went over this on points alone, Game 2, at 39. Since then, his point totals, very subpar. 20, 21, 24, leaving a lot to be desired since Game 2. Kawhi thrives in spots where the Clippers are coming off of a loss. I thought Game 5 was going to be a spot where he showed up and showed out. Did the other things, right? 11 dimes, 9 rebounds, didn't score. I think he's going to score in this one. He's been grabbing rebounds at a ferocious rate this series. 32.5 points and boards. That combo, minus 105, pretty fair price. My best bet for this game. I'm also looking to live bet the Clippers. I'm not laying 7 pre-flop with them, but I'm going to look to live bet them. We've seen both teams go on plenty of runs throughout this series, with the exceptions of really Game 3 and Game 5. Games 1, 2, and 4. Both teams shifted a lot, double-digit leads each side. I think we're going to get that here in Game 6. So I'm going to look to come back on the Clippers at a better number than the 7 they're laying. But I do think they win the game. Folks, Best Bets brought to you by our friends over at G-Bank, the official bank of VSiN. G-Bank is up in the ante with up to a $750 bonus for new G-Bank Visa Signature Card customers. First, new customers who spend $1,000 on eligible purchases within 90 days from the account opening receive a $250 bonus. Additionally, if you spend $50,000 on gaming and sports app loads within the 30 days of your account opening, you'll receive another $500 bonus. That's potentially a $750 bonus. Apply now. VSiN.com/GBank. Subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions, of course, apply. And that'll do it for another fun episode of Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo. But folks, the great content at VSiN never ends. 7 a.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss it. VSiN by the books. Our guys Dave Ross, Jensen Lewis take you through that program. Then a numbers game with our friends Gil Alexander and Kelly Bidlin at 10 a.m. Eastern, followed by Money Moves, Stormy Bonantoni, and JVT, the newly revamped version of the show, at noon Eastern. Special thanks to our sensational producer, Jared Moore. The rest of our awesome team, Johnny, Alexis, Fenhouse, Jarens, couldn't do it without them. That does it for Cashing Out. I'm Joe Ceraulo. Let's do it again, Damani.